ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Hare Krishna. So welcome everybody to my YouTube channel. Today we'll discuss one of the topic I choose is that how to get success quickly in this material world. So in this material world, specifically the human beings, we have the desire to get success in fruitive activities. So therefore they actually accept different means, different procedures. So specifically one of the verse from Bhagavad Gita 4th chapter, Lord Krishna said to Arjuna, this is very nice verse, said Kankhitah karmana siddhim yajanta yahdevatah khipram hi manushe loke siddhi bhavati karmaja. So it means Kankhita, akankhya means desire. How many desires are there? Second chapter, Lord Krishna already explained that. So desires are actually constantly entering into our mind. Likewise, the river is constantly flowing towards the ocean. If on the way of river, if there is a hill, a mountain, you put some bridge, if you try to block the river, still the river actually finds a way to go towards the ocean. Same way, desires are also like that. They also comes to our mind. There are millions and trillions of desires. If you try to fulfill one desire, then another desire will come up immediately. So that's why Kankhitaha. So we all have such desires. What is the desire? Karmana siddham. To actually get perfection in our activities. Everyone tries their best to do that work perfectly. So that's why sometimes people try to become Mr. Perfectionist. So this perfectionist, what they do? Yajanti ihadevataha. They worship the demigods. Demigods. Khipram hi manushem loke siddhi bhavati karmaja. And quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world by worshipping the demigods. So sometimes people have this misconception about the gods and demigods of this material world. And those who are men of less intelligence, although passing as great scholars, sometimes they take these demigods to be various form of the Supreme Lord. है ना? इंडिया में लोग कहते हैं आप किसी को पूजा करो. There is a famous slogan by one of the movement in India, Jato mat tatopat. Whatever the way, whatever your procedures, which God you worship, so whatever you do, that actually leads you to the same goal. That is their propaganda. So let's understand who are the demigods. One scholar was explaining demigods means Ardha Devata. Now demigods means, here it is, they are actually the various different forms of they are different forms, but they are getting the power from the Supreme Lord to execute, to manage the worldly affairs. So that's why demigods are actually not the different form of the God, but they are God's different parts and parcels. Like we living entities are part and parcel, same way. So that's why God is one. The parts and parcel are many. In Brahma Samhita, Brahma said, Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Ananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusam Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusam Tamaham Bhajami. Advaitam, Krishna is not two, he is one. He is one. Advaitam, Achyutam, Achyut, he never fall down from his position. No one can take over the post of Krishna. Krishna is Krishna. So when some devotees, they do austerity, tapasya for obtaining the Supreme Lord as their child, so when Krishna appeared and give them blessings, that time Krishna says, you actually did this tapasya to have me as son, that's why I will personally come and become your son. Krishna means Krishna, there is no two. Anadi Ananta Rupa, he is the beginningless, he is the beginning of everything. Ananta Rupam, he has many millions and trillions of forms. So that's why God is one. And Navayovanam Cha, although he is the oldest one, still he looks like youth, young. That's why when Krishna presents in this material world, although we are growing like from childhood to old age, but Krishna, he actually growing from childhood to youth. He never cross youth. That's why in the photo of Bhagavad Gita, when you see Krishna Arjun, you never see Krishna as an old person. Although when the Mahabharata Yuddha happened, that time Krishna was already 125 years past that time in this material world. So according to the material calculation, from his date of birth to Mahabharata war, he already lived for 125 years. But if you look at 125 years old person, nowadays it is very difficult to live such a long life. That person's body will be already deteriorated. He is old person. So that's why God is one and the part and parcel are many. So the part and parcels, living entities are not only living in this material world but living in different planets. Sometimes the material scientist, when they goes to up to the other planets, suppose Moon and Mars, they find there is no chance of living beings in those planets. But the Vedic literature explains it is easy to understand that like our body is made of earth, ether, air, fire, water. The 5 elements are there. So in the human form of life, the body is the elements which are prominent is earth and water, and fire is there, but it is very less, proportionately less quantity. But in the sun planet, if you look, Krishna can arrange a body. In that body, the fiery element is much more than the other elements. So there would be a possibility of living entity in other planets also. So that's why Vedas says Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Vidhati Kaman. So he is all the one, he can fulfill the desires of many. If you will go to Krishna and says, please Krishna provide me one laptop, Krishna said Tathastu. If you will want something else, whatever you desire. So that's why Sukadeva Goswami says, If a person goes to Krishna, akama, he does not have any kamana, any desire. Sarva kama, if he may have millions of desires. And mukhya kama udharidi, if he wants to liberate himself from this material world. Tibhrena bhakti yogena yajati purusha puman. That's why a person has to accept the devotional service of the Supreme Lord to yadati purusha puman, to achieve all these desires, to achieve all these wishes in our life. So that's why the demigods are actually delegated with power to manage this material world. Suppose Indra is there, Chandra is there, Varuna is there. There are 33 crores of demigods are there. They are actually have obtained different powers to manage this material world. In the second kind of Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami mentioned that if you have a desire, like if you want wealth, you worship Kuber, Lakshmi. If you want education, good education, then worship Saraswati. If you want like a good wife, then worship Mother Parvati. So there are like Vignaharta Ganesh. So the demigods actually, when they pleased with your yajna, with your austerity, with your service towards them, then they provide all necessary things to you. So that's why, so general the demigods are living entities with different grades of material power. So they cannot be equal to the Supreme Lord, Narayana, Vishnu or Krishna. If those who are making some arrangements to that everything is equal, they are explained in Padma Purana, they are pasandis. So that's why like the demigods like Brahma, Shiva cannot be compared to the Supreme Lord, because the Lord is worshipped by demigods such as Brahma and Shiva. Shiva Biranchi Newtam. So in one of the it is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, very nice verse, that how that Shiva means Lord Shiva, Brahma and all the demigods, they came to the room of Mother Devaki. That time Mother Devaki was pregnant. Inside her womb Lord Krishna was there. So all the demigods came and they offered their obeisance. They actually prayed to the Lord. That's why there are many human leaders who are worshipped by policemen under the misunderstanding of anthropomorphism or zoomorphism. So they think that human beings like like sometimes we see the film stars, movie stars, they were worshipped by their fans. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned that in 1943, that time there was a person in Calcutta living. That person was worshipping Hitler because due to Hitler he actually somehow or other earned so much wealth due to that World War. So that's why he was worshipping Hitler. So we see that such type of worship is useless, but people do that. So but the Lord Vishnu or Krishna actually does not belong to this world. He is from the spiritual world. So you may have the question, how is it that the Lord from the spiritual world comes to this material world? What is the need for him to come? Practically, Lord Krishna is so merciful because we are his children's sons and daughters. So as the Supreme Father, he also desires that my children are living in the material world where that flesh is very miserable. not fit for a good person, and it is temporary in nature, and it is always dukkhalayam, it is the place of miseries. So that's why Krishna plans always that let me go and bring all of them to the spiritual world where there is no such problems. Right? All the material problems like birth, death, old age, disease, and there are so many different types of disease are now spreaded in all over world, and people are all already suffering. So Krishna think, so why not to take all of them to the spiritual world? But where is the problem? Problem is within us. We actually don't have that desire to go back to the spiritual world. Very few persons, those are liberated souls, those who come from the spiritual world to help us, to deliver us from this worst place to the better place. From the worst place to the better place. So that's why we don't know what is good for us. We think that this is the place where we can be happy. Like once Indra, somehow or other, he was cursed by one Rishi and he became a pig in the material world, like Bombay gutter, drainage. And that pig was living very happily. He had hundreds of children. And one day Brahma got the information, where is Indra? I have not seen Indra for many days. Where has he gone? So somehow that he got the information that Indra actually became a pig in the material world. So Lord Brahma immediately appeared where Indra was living as a pig, and Lord Brahma said, oh Indra, you are Indra. But that pig was not hearing, not listening to Lord Brahma. So no, I am not Indra, I am Mr. Pig. Then Lord Brahma said, you are Indra, you have the highest position, post given to you. You are the king of demigods, you are residing in heaven, better place. There is Nandankanan, there is Somaras, there are so many millions and trillions of damsels, in the heaven. And you have your own wife, Sachi Mata is there. Please come, let's go to heaven. But Indra said, no, this is the best place. I want to stay here. I don't want to go back. Then Brahma thought, why this person is so much attached? He is Indra, but he has got a body of pig. That's why he is thinking happiness in that drain. So Lord Rushabdev said, Pumsa striya mithuni bhava etan tayor mitha hridaya granthi ahu atho sutta khetra atho griha khetra sutta apta vitte janasya moham ayam aham mameti. It is actually said, in this material world, when male and female they come together, unite, there is a union, there is marriage, then the stars Hridaya Granth Ahu, there the attachment increased. It's like the hard knot. It is very difficult to untie that knot. You have a good spanner, you try to the bolt and knot is so much rusted. If you try to lose that knot, it's very difficult to lose. And there is much more like that, Sutta Khetra, Gruha Khetra Sutta Apta Vitte, the land, the family members, the children's, they are already there. So a person is too much attached with them. So that is called Janasya Moham Ayam Aham Mameti. People are in illusion, mohit ho jate hain. So much illusion that they could not think beyond this. And Lord Brahma thought, let me kill his sons. So Lord Brahma killed all the pigs, hundred of pigs, childrens. But later still, after actually death of the sons of Indra, who is in the form of pig, Indra is not thinking. He was not worried. He was looking towards his wife. Oh, my wife is already there. I can give birth another hundreds of child. Small big pigs, small pigs. So that's why he was happy. But somehow other Brahma killed his wife also. Later Brahma sprinkled some water from his kamandulu. Then Indra actually got his original form as Indra, celestial form. So that's why here we can understand that how much we are in illusion, how much we are in attachment in this material world. So that's why, so here the word Iha Devata, Devata denotes a powerful man or demigod of this world. So Iha Devata, Ijanti Iha Devata. People worship this Iha Devata instead of worshipping the Supreme Lord. And sometimes when you explain them, please come to the temple, chant some mantras, read Bhagavad Gita, and try to execute some of the devotional service principles, rules and regulations. People actually declined. They are afraid of the procedures. So that's why here we can understand that how the Supreme Lord is so much merciful for us. That's why He descends to this material world in His original form, and He spoke Bhagavad Gita. He spoke all the Vedic literatures that, So you may have a question, how is that Krishna spoke everything? In Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter, Lord Krishna said, Vedaischa sarver aham eva vedya Vedanta kritvid videva chaha. Amongst all the Vedic literature, if you want to know something, that is to know about Krishna. Second thing, who is the compiler of all the Vedic literature? Lord Krishna. Vedanta kritvid, I am the compiler. Krishna actually compiled all the Vedic literature. So how? Krishna actually do everything like He empowered someone. Like He empowered Vyasadeva. That's why Vyasadeva is the literary incarnation of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. So that's why Vyasa wrote all the Vedic literatures for the benefit of human beings. So we are already getting the benefits by studying the Vedic literatures. So that's why there are so many acharyas came. They try to explain us the secret of the Vedic literatures. Likewise, you may read Bhagavad Gita thousands of times, but sometimes we see that people read the Vedic literatures. But if you would ask them questions related to Bhagavad Gita, related to Vedic literature, who is God? Then they may say God is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. He is so great we cannot describe Him. But a devotee, small child, immediately explain that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Immediately. So here we see Sripad Shankaracharya. He is the leader of impersonalist, atheist life, He maintains that, he says, Narayana Krishna is the beyond this material creation. But the foolish people, those are Hirta Jnana, worship the demigods because they want immediate results. So previously people were somehow or other they were worshipping the demigods. Nowadays for quick results people are actually trying to follow some of the procedures which actually take them in latter to the jail. That's why in the present condition, people's they want to accumulate, earn money by any means, by hook or crook, either process of stealing and I mean to say cheating others. Some are taking others' money. Sometimes people are threatening like bhais, those who are dons, underworld dons. They are threatening people. Give money, otherwise you may lose your life, like that. There are so many dons are there. So somehow or other, earn money. That's why there was a Rishi, he always says, Runam krutva kritam pibet. Srila Prabhupada says, and previously the Munis and Rishis, those who were atheistic type, they were telling to the people, just take a loan from the government, from the bank, and ghutam pibek. They were actually advocating you drink ghee. So they were never telling that you drink wine, you go to the resorts, drink wine, enjoy with women. Never. Ghrita pibek. So previously by drinking, getting ghee was the sign of aristocracy. So nowadays also people are not getting pure ghee. Sometimes they come to the temple, they ask to our organic farm shop, do you have ghee, original, and they get the ghee nowadays. So Hrita Jnana, those people are lost their knowledge, they worship the demigods because they want immediate results. But they do not know that results to obtain are temporary and are meant for less intelligent persons. There was a person whose name was Bhasmasur. He did tapasya for a long time and he pleased Lord Shiva. So when Lord Shiva was pleased, he asked, what type of benediction you want? Then Bhasmasur said, I want one benediction that when I put my hand upon any person, that person immediately will become torn into ashes. That was the benediction he required. So what nowadays such type of benediction also, many small countries, many countries, they trying their best to achieve such benedictions in the form of atomic energy, atomic bombs. And the small countries, they know they have small quantity of atomic energy, bombs. They are enriching the uranium or plutonium to make bombs, atomic bombs, missiles. But they don't know such benedictions, such actually achievements may bring some dangers to that country. Like sometimes Israel, they were actually through hacking the computers, they destroyed the total plants, the programs of these atomic programs in those countries. So that may bring a disaster for that country. Same way, it will Bhasmasur, and later when Lord Vishnu as a brahmachari explained why you were believing the words of Lord Shiva. He himself is a mad person, he is staying in crematory. If you want to actually experiment that, why don't you experiment upon you? Just put your hand upon you. Let's check it. Is it acting or not, working or not? So when Bhasmasur put his own hand upon it, he immediately transferred into ashes. So that is the thing. Means although in the history, in the Puranas, these types of story was explained, the true story, the history was explained. So that is actually the case study for all of us to understand that how much, in what conditions we are living. So that's why the intelligent person, those who are in Krishna consciousness, they no need to worship the demigods, for some immediate results. There is no need. So the boons of the demigods are material and temporary. You can get thousands of incidents like that. So that's why human society is mad after temporary things such as the material opulence, possessing land, family, enjoyable paraphernalia. To achieve such temporary things, people worship the demigods or work hard. Yeah, they sometimes worship the powerful men in human society. So Prabhupada explained that if a person gets ministership in the government by worshipping a political leader, he considers that he has achieved a great boon. Nowadays, somehow or other, if someone gets power in ministership in the government, so Prabhupada said that jackal, if sometimes you make him the king of the forest, as soon as some big person, big animal come, the jackal who is in the post of king, who is on the throne, he will immediately jump from his post and immediately lick the foot of that big animal. So like that, if a person sometimes some flattering to the big leaders become also politicians. So they think that these are the great boon. So that's why, therefore, to the so-called leaders or big goons, in order to achieve temporary boons, they indeed achieve such things. So such foolish people are not interested in Krishna consciousness. They don't actually consider the devotees as some of the like advisors or leaders. They don't consider. So they think that we are big personalities. So that's why it is here how the Krishna consciousness movement is actually giving the permanent solutions to the hardship of material existence. People are working hard, going through so much troubles, tribulations, so much problems in this material world, but we are offering. So if you want to have the highest things in your life, please try this procedure, that to worship the Supreme Lord with love and devotion. So, but the people are after sense enjoyment, to get a little facility of the sense enjoyment, they are attracted to worshipping the empowered living entities known as demigods. This verse indicates that people are really interested in Krishna consciousness. Recently I am telling you one of the incident in Afghanistan where Taliban took over the country's power. So Taliban had their agenda that women should not have rights, women should stay inside the home, they should work inside, they should not go outside, they should cover their whole body, and they want to put the Sharia laws. If someone do wrong, immediately he should be like hanged, he should be pelted for stones towards him. So many, they have no such kinds of rules are there, Talibans. When Talibans are forcing the people, although they are all Muslims, they want this ummah, means, so the what is that, Muslim Emirates, Muslims country, they want that. So they are forcing the peoples to actually follow all these rules which are actually mentioned in their Sharia laws. So when the people can follow the rules, so it is not actually mandatory, it is not actually forceful to implement the rules. Rules and regulations are there. That's why the government duty is to teach the people, to help the people to understand the benefits, the goodness of all those rules and regulations. If peoples are not understood, peoples are not actually interested, whatever amount of your force is there, you may bring laws, you may bring different kinds of rules, you may enforce, but still peoples will not follow this. So that's why first of all we should convince them, we should then make them to understand, yeah, uplift them in those situations where they can follow easily the rules and regulations. So that's why here, although the instruction is there, the peoples actually worship the demigods for quick results. The benefits they derive from by the demigods, although it is very temporary in nature, it is not beneficial for them. Still, what is our duty? If you would go and straightforwardly tell that someone that you are a worshipper of demigods, you are less intelligent, you don't, your senses are not working, you are a very worldly person. If you talk like that, then they would immediately stop hearing from you. But on the other hand, if you will gradually help them, like we preachers go out, we give them books, we give them prasadam, we give them flowers, we invite them to temple, and slowly, gradually, when that person is interested to take up Krishna consciousness, that would be very easy for him to follow the rules and regulations. Later we see that devotee makes a lot of progress in his life. So slow and steady wins the race. Slowly, gradually, the people can take up the Krishna consciousness. Swami Prabhupada, he went to West in 1965. He preached. In the initial days, he was just giving the lectures, and all those people, those students who were coming to hear him, they were not qualified. They were not understanding the Srila Prabhupada's English also. But Srila Prabhupada was taking care of them. Srila Prabhupada was preparing prasadam, he was giving prasadam to them. Later, all these boys, all these students were so much convinced, they were so much progressed in their life. They later went to different parts of the world and opened center. That's why now we can see millions and trillions of devotees are there, those who are practicing Krishna consciousness. So previously they were worshipping some big leaders, they were worshipping their demigods, they are somehow or other trying to follow the so-called religious processes, where, like Jesus said, I want to give you much more, but you are not eligible to accept all those teachings. So what is that much more? Because Jesus was preaching to the simple fishermen. What the fishermen can do? They can only have time only Sunday, one day in a week, and they go to some holy place like church, and they seek some atonements, do atonement there. They says, oh Jesus, please forgive for our sins, although they were killing the fishes. Their business is like that. So they were doing little bit prayers. So that Jesus said that I have much more to say, but you are not eligible. So those who are Christians, those who are Muslims, if they want to understand much more, so that's why they seek the knowledge from the Vedic literature, which are actually authentic, bona fide Vedic literatures. So that's why most of the preachers, when they try to preach in India, they read, then they quote from the Vedic literatures. Sometimes they quote from the Bhagavad Gita, sometimes they quote from the Vedas, Upanishads, try to establish that what they are talking is correct. Try to establish what their path is actually better than other paths. But quotations are from the Vedas. So we say them, then why don't we follow the Vedic path directly? So in this way, so if you want to discuss this in this verse, that how to achieve success very quickly, how to achieve success very quickly in your business, in your study, in your day-to-day life, in your entrepreneurship, whatever you are doing in your life, either you are a sportsman, athletes, yeah, singer, yeah, actor, whatever you may be, if you want to success in your life, just try to worship and please the Supreme Lord Krishna. So that is the recommendation of the all the Vedic literatures. If you think that, oh no, I don't have this faith, so you can check it from the Vedic literatures. You can check, you can read. So it is our request. So I hope and that you would understand this topic. So we will end here. Before ending, I have the request that you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe this channel, that you would get the notification of my videos. Thank you. Thanks a lot, and Lord Krishna may bless all of you. Jagdur Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.